things were taken from us and darkness covered us. Alright? Because the Lord's face was not shining on us no more. So it said, thou hast made the earth to tremble, thou hast broken it, heal the breaches thereof, for it shaketh. Alright? Because you have a people that's destroying the earth. It says, woe unto them that destroyeth the earth, right? Verse 4. Verse 3, excuse me. Thou hast showed thy people hard things. Thou hast made us to drink the wine of astonishment. So we've seen hard things, man. It's a hard thing. You see a Jake, he's being like hung upside down with his feet and his hands together, and like big pieces of beams of wood is being put on his back to break his back.
Rocks.
You know what I'm saying? That's hard thing. So Esau is sitting there inventing different ways to destroy us. And you think that this is Esau doing it. The Most High is putting it in Esau's mind to do these things, man.
Right.
So the Most High is putting this, sending certain spirits down in Esau's mind and say, go and do that, go and do that. You know what I'm saying?
And at the same time, what's also hard is knowing, is seeing those pictures of Jake being lynched and burned at the same time.
Yeah, so you're seeing mobs of 10,000 crackers, man. Edomites to kill one Jake. Like in the race wars in the early 1900s, man. There was one Jake was accused of raping a Edomite woman, right? So he was taken to court, and I think it was 10,000 strong Edomites. They came to the court and they threatened the judge, and the judge had to give him up to the mob. And then what did they do? They hung him, they burned him. I think they shot him up while he was hanging. So this talking about the level of anger on one Jake.
And you know what too, brother, the water for correcting me there. But hey man, like I said, that don't mean you're supposed to get upset.
That's how the Most High deals. Like he doesn't have emotions to people. He looks at people like they're just things, man. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't, like how the Most High dealt with us. How, our children were slaughtered and given to sharks and alligators, and the Most High did all that. So the Most High doesn't really look at us with like, I shouldn't do that, and people have feelings and emotions. It's a game of chess to him. Punish one people and after a certain time punish them. And he gives them over to Satan. So Satan is really fucking with these people.
And you know it too, and you're right about that, because see, the way the Lord did us, he dealt with us according to judgment. Not according to judgment, but according to what we've done, and judged us based on what we've done, But like I said, like I'm gonna say the second time, man, hey man, Esau, he's gonna get an ass whooping like you've never seen in your life in the kingdom. And that ass whooping is gonna be for eternity until we get rid of them, pursuant to the book of Obadiah in the 1st chapter, man. They're gonna be Obadiah 1:18. Right? But yeah, the brother's correct on that, because really the Lord was basically severely angry with us, especially when the ones of our people said, let his blood be upon our children, referring to Yahawashi. So they had to pay for that. They had to pay to get lynched and all that.
They brought down themselves.
So the Lord judged them aright. Like you said, brother, the Most High is not a man that he shall repent of himself. Matter of fact, get me that. Get Numbers 23, verse 19.
Can I say one thing? Don't give it back. It was our fault because we entered into a covenant. We made an oath that to keep his laws and commandments. And that if we didn't keep those commandments, all these curses would come upon us. So it's not like we didn't know. We knew. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord is not unjust in what he did. Like, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden he just wants to punish us. He made a contract. He said, listen, these are the rules, these are the stipulations. If you keep it, then good. You give all of these benefits, all of this. But if you break the contract, then unfortunately, all these things is gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we broke the oath.
Justification.
Yeah. So the Lord is justified in what he did. You know what I'm saying? So
I can't say anything against that. It was true. They're going, bro. It's 23 and 19.
Numbers 23 and 19.
The Most High is not a man that he should lie, neither the Son of Man that he should repent. Have he said, and shall he not do it?
Yeah, because when you read into the curses, Moses told the children of Israel, this is going to be the deal. You hearken unto me, and all of these blessings shall pursue thee. Right? When you read all the way down from the first verse, all the way down to the 15th verse. Right? And then from the 15th verse, that pretty much expounds upon the curses. If we didn't keep the commandment. So evidently we did know what the deal was. Because the Lord showed us the way on how to conduct ourselves in terms of getting those rewards. The blessings going, brother.
This is the song of the three holy children, right? The three holy children, that's what's it? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
I'll tell you what, the one, if you can let him finish.
Yeah. When you're ready.
Come.
And shall he not do it, or have he spoken, and shall he not make it good?
Right. Have he not spoken, and shall he not make it good? Meaning the prophecies are gonna happen regardless. So, like you said, the one, the Most High gave us up to the spiritual, not to the spiritual demon Satan, the physical counterpart of the demon Satan, right? So that we can be judged for the wrongs that we've done.
Righteous judgment.
Because it's righteous judgment, and the Most High is justified in that. And when you read the history of when the nations went up against Israel with such anger, that was really the Most High. I told you that in Isaiah, actually. I believe it's in Isaiah. It says, when the nations are moved to wrath against the Israelites. I'm roughly paraphrasing. That's the anger. That's the anger of the Lord working through those nations. So what happened to us in slavery? That was really the anger of the Lord. You know, because Esau already had that wickedness within him. But what the Most High did, he stirred that wickedness within him to go against Jacob. Plus, Esau already hated Jacob anyway. So the Most High gave Esau the green light to go against Jacob in the way that they did. You know? Yeah, that's all I want. You got it, brother.
Yeah, that's why they said the Lord shall send the people from far. So the Lord sent Esau against us. But this is the song of the three holy children, verse 3, excuse me. Blessed art thou, O Lord God of our fathers, thy name is worthy to be praised and glorified forevermore. For thou art righteous in all the things that thou hast done to us. Yea, true are all thy works, thy ways are right, and all thy judgments truth. In all the things that thou hast brought upon us, and upon the holy city of our fathers, even Jerusalem, thou hast executed true judgment. For according to truth and judgment didst thou bring all these things upon us because of our sins. For we have sinned and committed iniquity, departed from thee. In all things have we trespassed and not obeyed thy commandments, nor kept them, neither done as thou hast commanded us, that it might go well with us.
Yeah, that's true.
Wherefore all that thou hast brought upon us, and everything that thou hast done to us, thou hast done in true judgment. And thou didst deliver us into the hands of lawless enemies, most hateful forsakers of the Most High, and to an unjust king, and the most wicked in all the world. And now we cannot open our mouths. We are become ashamed and a reproach to thy servants, and to them that worship thee. Yet deliver us not up wholly for thy name's sake, neither disannul thou thy covenant, and cause not thy mercy to depart from us, for thy beloved Abraham's sake, for thy servant Isaac's sake, and for thy holy Israel's sake, to whom thou hast spoken and promised that thou wouldest multiply their seed and the stars of heaven.
And then what? If you can read them, because there was a point that was reading them, and that really hit home. Because I believe the verse was, I don't know what verse it was, but it was something to the effect of
righteous in all the things that thou hast done to us.
Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, yeah, it was bad what happened to our people, but it really the Most High was justified, because again, when you read the Bible, right, and you read about our ancestors and what they were doing, and you have to be honest with yourself, right? When you read what our people were doing, you have to then begin to think, oh, that's why the Most High put us in the predicament we're in. You have to be honest with yourself. You can't, go over that emotionally. You have to really deal with that because it is what it is. You see what I'm saying? But the Lord, obviously, he's going to continue to have mercy on us because he had made a covenant with us. And this is just us experiencing what it means to go against the Most High. This life entirely, by putting up a nobody and making them rule over us. Taking them for the Caucasus Mountains and having them to rule over us. So that we can be punished and then get the experience of what this is all about. And once you've gotten that experience, then the Lord is going to return the favor and taking the elect out of this predicament. Because really, this life is basically a life where, how should I put this, man? This is a life of showing forth when you go against the laws and the commandments. This is what you're going to get. You know, the weather's all messed up, right? People are all bugged out because of if you can, brother, get me Isaiah 24, because the ordinance, everything has been changed. So in a sense, it's kind of cool to be here because we're learning what it means to fear the Most High. Why is the right thing to fear the Most High? If you can, I want him to get this real quick, and then you can read that. Like, all of this is just a learning curve. That's all it is. They're going, bro.
Isaiah 24:4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away.
Yeah, and the reason why the earth mourneth and fadeth away, because pursuant to the book of Proverbs, it says it says something to the effect of when the wicked are exalted and the people mourn, and when the righteous beareth rule, the people rejoice. But this is why the world is in a state of mourning, because why? Furthermore, because of what they're doing to the planet. They're not keeping the land Sabbaths. There's laws on how to occupy the land, deal with the land, and there's laws on how to deal with people. Okay, and there's laws on how to enslave people. Okay, righteous enslavement, because you have righteous enslavement too. Yeah, so all of these laws are not being kept in terms of you being on this planet, because the Bible is the manuscript. Once you go against the manuscript of the planet, this is what you're going to experience. You're going to experience, what is it, birds dropping dead. You're going to experience people getting sick, your families getting sick and dying, because this man is in power and he's showing us what it means and why is it so important to do what's right in the eyes of the Most High. Because the laws are about growth and life. But when we go against that, we're bringing forth death and destruction. So this society is a learning curve for us. You're going, bro.
And fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away, the haughty people of the earth do languish.
Right.
The earth is also defiled under the inhabitants
right, and
thereof.
the earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because people are taking part in things that they should not be doing. Like being a sodomite, being a carpet muncher, and these sort of things that people are getting involved in. Changing their sex. So all of this stuff defiles the planet. And then you got them so-called Jews in Israeli land sucking on babies' rods and doing all kind of odious works of evil. So all of these works of evil defile the land. That's all it does. You see, but then again it reverts back to the point that we're getting to understand why it's the right thing in terms of following the laws and the commandments. Why it's beneficial for us. Okay? Go on, brother.
Fadeth away, the haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof.
Yeah.
Because they have transgressed the laws.
Yeah.
Changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant.
And that's why we're here. So it was really a beautiful thing for the Most High. I mean, I have to say it. I don't want to say it, but yeah, it's a beautiful thing that the Most High put Esau in power so he can show us what evil and wickedness is all about, and then at the last end, you can then appreciate righteousness. That's what all of this is all about, and us being enslaved as a people in the way that we were dealt with, and all the above. So the Lord is basically showing the left-hand side of His work, so that we can go back and reverting back to fearing the Most High again. Like you got certain brothers that have health issues and all of that stuff, man. You brothers have your personal health issues. I got my outward issue. So we're all learning what it means, why you must fear the Most High. You see? Because what the Lord can do, the Lord can take a nobody, a devil which He created, because the scripture says He created all things for Himself, yea, even the wicked. And we know that Esau is the wicked. We know that the so-called white man is the wicked. He knows it himself. But the Most High created him to bring forth the days of evil, to show the righteous men a lesson as to what evil is. so that we can fear the Most High, which the so-called white man, he's the left-hand side of the Most High, to be exact. Yeah, so that's all. I think you've read the point on that. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, read what you got, the what?
Galatians chapter 3 verse 23. But before faith came, we were kept under the law, shut up unto the faith which would afterwards be revealed.
Yeah.
Wherefore the law,
Yeah, read it again, Baba Kushar Salakia.
Galatians 3 and 23. But before faith came, we were kept under the law.
Right, so before faith came, we were kept under the law. So going all the way back to the Old Testament, during the time of Moses also, we were kept under the law to keep the law. And then, you know, thousands of years later, then the grace period came when Yahawashi came. Go on.
Shut up unto the faith which should afterwards be revealed. Wherefore the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Hamashiach, that we might be justified by faith.
That we may be justified by faith. So now we're not being justified by the law. We're being justified by faith now. Because the reason why the Lord said that we're justified by faith is simply because we broke, the first covenant. And the Most High put us in a predicament where we can't keep all of the laws, even in these bodies. So now we have to now look towards the Mashiach Yahawashi in terms of having faith in him, that he's our Lord and Savior, and dealing with him according to the scriptures. Okay, which we know according to the scriptures, the Lord and the Messiah that died on the cross is a so-called black man. Everybody knows this now. All right? So what you had a bunch of Romans that put a so-called Negro on the cross, equivalent to how they do us in today's world. Right, like how they used to lynch us, they lynched the black man, such as the Messiah, which he's an Israelite. He ain't no black man, he's an Israelite. Okay? So by him, we are now justified through what? Faith. Go on, brother.
But after that faith is come, we are no longer under a schoolmaster.
Yeah, and now that after faith has come, we're no longer under the schoolmaster, which the schoolmaster is the law. And when you really deal with Yahawashi as it stands, he's the exemplification of the law. So you can't get rid of the law entirely because he is the law. Give me Matthew 5 and verse 13.
What did we learn? What did we learn from the covenant? We
Yep.
learned that we couldn't keep it.
Yep.
And that we needed more faith. We needed faith.
Yeah.
Because when we were keeping the law, we were just keeping it as it were the works of the law.
Yeah.
We wasn't keeping it in faith.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
We were abusing the law as well.
Exactly. We would take
Right.
exactly. Well,
Like we would like have the sacrifice ready before you do the sin.
Yeah, out of his own.
Yeah, I'm gonna have this sheep and this turtle dove here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do X, Y, Z, and I know that's off. But it's okay because when I come home, and I'll bring that to the priest and I'm good again. So that's what the Lord said. I will not smell in your solemn assembly.
Yep.
yeah, that's what it says. Prophet Isaiah 1 and 11. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me, saith Yahawah? I am full of the burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fed beasts, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks or of lambs or of he-goats. When ye come to appear before me, you have required this at your hand to tread my courts. Bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me. The new moons and Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with. It is iniquity. Even a solemn meeting, your new moons and your appointed feasts, my soul hateth. They are a trouble unto me.
That's
I am
right.
weary to bear them.
That's right.
But when you spread forth your hands, I will hide mine eyes from you. Yea, when ye make many prayers, I will not hear.
Yeah, that's right.
Your hands are full of blood. Wash you, make you clean. Go away the evil of your doings from before mine eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do well. Seek judgment. Relieve the oppressed. Judge the fatherless. Plead for the widow.
And that's why the Lord had to do away with all of those laws. I mean, the laws are not done away with, but we're not justified in sacrificing goats and oxen, stuff like that for our sins, because Jacob was doing it because they knew they were going to sin, so they did it before they sinned to commit sin. So this is why the Lord said it was vain. All of their oblations and sacrifices was all vain. So now Yahawashi, he became the sacrificial lamb And through him, now we're under grace.
It kind of goes. Go.
I was just going to say, because it's in the scriptures, it's appointed once for a man to die. That was talking of Yahawashi, because his death was one time. Like every time you sin, Yahawashi don't come back down and go on the cross again.
Right.
So that was that one-time sacrifice. Whereas back then, is whenever you did something, okay, I've got to go back to the priest and sacrifice. Because as this Isaiah was saying, we basically ran the sacrificial laws to the ground, man.
Yeah.
We made it a joke and an embarrassment unto the Lord.
It's like Esau printing that fiat money. He keeps printing it, so it becomes worthless, isn't it? So it's like that. We kept doing it, taking the piss, so it became like worth nothing, man. You know, it didn't really mean nothing. People just took the piss out of it because we could just kept doing it. You know what I mean? But it goes into what you're saying about we needed the Lord. It says now, come now and let us reason together, saith Yahawah. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land. But if ye refuse and rebel, ye shall be devoured with the sword. For the mouth of Yahawah has spoken it. How is the faithful city become an harlot? It was full of judgment.
Yeah, the what? Can I elaborate on what you just read there? The Lord said, if you rebel against me, then you shall be given to the sword. Who's the sword?
Esau.
Esau's the sword.
Exactly. Because that was his blessing. And right, so what did it say? It said, excuse me. How is the faithful city become a harlot? It was full of judgment. Righteousness lodged in it, but now murderers. Thy silver has become dross, thy wine mixed with water. Thy princes are rebellious and companions of thieves. Everyone loveth gifts and followeth after rewards. They judge not the fatherless, neither doth the cause of the widow come unto them. Therefore saith Yahawah of hosts, the mighty one of Israel, I will ease me of mine adversaries and avenge me of mine enemies, and I will turn my hand upon thee and purely purge away thy dross and take away all thy tin. And it says, I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning.
And that's happening right now.
Right. Afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. Zion shall be redeemed with judgment, and her converts with righteousness.
Yeah, so the Lord's already doing that right now. He's setting up the judges as in the days of before. And we're those same men, potentially, Lord willing, we're those men that are the judges of Israel. Because when you read the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter, it says that you're going to have certain men, they're going to be sitting on thrones judging the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, so to speak. So there's your judges that are being reformed, and then to be saved, to be sitting on those thrones to be the judges of Israel again. So that's all coming back. You see, so even though the Lord took us down so low and made us experience what we had to experience, the Lord had to, because the Most High knows what he's doing. The Lord already knew what he was going to do from the beginning. So evidently he would know what he's going to do in the future. Keep going, brother.
This is Jeremiah chapter 7 from 1. The word of the Lord came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, stand in the gate of the Lord's house and proclaim there this word and say, hear the word of the Lord, all ye Judah, that enter in at the gates to worship the Lord.
And if you look at the prophets of old, right, there's so many prophets that was telling Israel the same thing over and over and over again, going back to what he was saying, right, about how Jake already needed them. So when he suffered the slavery that we suffered on this side, it was justified.
It was justified.
Because Jake already knew what to do. They've had so many prophets telling them what to do and how to do it.
Chance upon chance, chance upon chance.
Because Israel,
Show one, man.
I don't mean to
Go on.
Jake thought they could get away from the covenant. Shalom. Because what did we do? We fled into Africa. Because we was under persecution from the Romans. So we fled into different parts of the earth. We came to Africa, and if you check the Jake in Africa, you know the different, like Uganda, Nigeria, Ghana, they've got their own beliefs, man. They're not following Yahawah and the Sabbath days and the new moon. They're not keeping the customs of their ancient foreparents. So somehow along the way, they left off from their ancient way. And they start formulating these different linguistic languages and all these different tribes among themselves, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously they weren't. So we are a covenant. What I'm trying to say is we're a covenanted people. We made an oath. We're underneath like a curse. You know what I'm saying?
Because he didn't keep the covenant.
Exactly. Like, and when I say a curse, I mean like a curse is like a bad vibe, like that Most High sends on us for disobedience, right?
That dark cloud covered us.
Right, but then a curse is also an oath. Like a people can enter into a curse. Do you get what I mean? So that's another word for curse is like an oath. So we entered into a curse with the Most High. And we said that we would obey his commandments. And if we didn't, then I don't want to cut you in.
No, go on, bro. You got it, man.
What's the isn't Chronicles where we did it again, man? It's like we entered into a. Just bear with me for 1 second. Is it First Chronicles, man? Yeah, here it goes. This is Second Chronicles chapter 15, verse 12. And they entered into a covenant to seek Yahawah, God of their fathers, with all their heart and with all their soul, that whosoever would not seek Yahawah, the God of Israel, should be put to death, whether small or great, whether man or woman. And they swear unto Yahawah with a loud voice, and with shouting, and with trumpets, and with cornets. And all Judah rejoiced at the oath, for they had sworn with all their heart, and sought him with their whole desire, and he was found of them, and Yahawah gave them rest round about. You get what I mean? So that's even in the law. When you make an oath, the Most High is gonna hold you to that oath, man. Yeah. Hold on. This is bear with me. This is Deuteronomy 23, verse 21. When thou shalt vow a vow unto Yahawah thy God, thou shalt not slack to pay it. For Yahawah thy God will surely require it of thee, and it would be sin in thee. But if thou shalt forbear to vow, it shall be no sin in thee. So if you make a vow unto the Most High, you're not meant to be slack to pay it, because the Most High will surely require it of you, and it will be a sin in thee. So that's a law. When you make a vow, you're meant to keep your vow, man. Yeah. Because if you don't keep it, what it says is the Lord will surely require it of thee, man, and it will be a sin in thee. You know what I'm saying? So here it is, we made a vow to the Most High, and that if any man didn't stand true to that vow, he should be put to death. So our own words is falling upon us, man. You get what I mean?
That's why we're under the curses.
You can never blame God at the end of the day. That's part of being mature, is holding yourself accountable for your actions. That's a masculine energy to look at yourself as self-reflectance and say to yourself, yeah, true, say I did wrong. That's the truth. I did swear that I would do this, and then I didn't do it. So therefore, the thing that's happened to me now is justified. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, not holding yourself and blaming everybody. That's a feminine energy. That's typically what, women kind of do, man. You know what I'm saying? You get what I mean? They always pointing fingers at everybody, and it's never them. You know what I'm saying? That's a feminine type of energy. But as men, mature men, we have to say, yo, we must have done some fucked up shit for all these things to happen to us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Is that the Most High saying, how dare you disrespect me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How dare you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what you're saying. It's in Proverbs, the power of life and death lays in the tongue.
You see, you see that the power of life and death is in the tongue. So we used our tongue to make a vow.
Right.
And we didn't realize what we were doing when we were making that vow, man. Because we didn't foresee the evil that would later on happen to us, man. You know what I'm saying? When we enter that covenant, it's like you do something, you don't realize what you're doing. that you're actually bringing a curse upon yourself. So at the moment, as is this day, let me finish the point I'm making, is that we entered, we're under an oath as a people. Our children, our children's children, we're underneath, we all entered into a curse. Intergenerationally, even until this day, all our people scattered. We're a cursed people, man. Because we entered into a vow with the Most High, and the Most High is requiring it of us. And this is why these things is happening to us. This is what our people don't know. Even to this day, our people are crying out as, like, you see our Jake in China, they're being oppressed by the Chinese, you know. They can't be allowed into certain food places. They're getting kicked out of their houses or whatnot. And you see Jake, they're kind of asking the Chinese, why are you doing this to us? And because I remember footage of one Jake doing that, and his head is bald. He's getting kicked on. One Jake is kicked on the floor. And they're beating them with the bats, and his head is bald, man. And I'm like, that's why you're getting beaten up.
Because you're not under the covenant.
You're not holding your end of the bargain. But Jake, and you know what I'm saying, and you know Jake got there with a smooth face, shaved his beard,
lining up their beard.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at shit. This is why this is happening to you guys, man. And it's actually a custom in Africa for Jake to not have a beard, man. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord is now requiring these things of us, man.
That's why, as he was talking about all the punishments we're getting, that's why the men get it worse. Because when you read the law, if a woman makes a vow, if she's under her father's household, her dad has to second it.
Right.
Otherwise, the Lord wouldn't look at it.
Or her husband.
And then, if she's not under her father's household, it has to be her husband that says, okay, you can make that vow to the Lord. Otherwise, the Lord said he will turn a blind eye to it. That's why these women, they got it all right now, man. You know, like they're one and the same as Esau. Hence why the scripture says, a woman shall compass a man. But then when the judgment actually does come, we say, arise you women that are at ease. Because right now they're at ease. It's the men that's really feeling it. Because we're the ones that confirm the covenant back at Sinai with the Lord.
That's why we're getting it more. That's right. That's true. That's very true.
Yep. No. That's beautiful, man. That's another way of looking at it. Because we came under the covenant. So when you break the covenant, then you have to deal with the consequences of it. Now we're dealing with the consequences of it. You know, so ultimately, it takes one to be the bigger person, man.
Right.
We have to be the bigger men and say, look, we fucked up. We're in the wrong. And if you look at Jake right now, Jake is still going on. Heavy, man. You got the the black woman, she's shaking her ass and just being disobedient. And then you got our men out there doing the same thing. Okay, transferring themselves into being something, or transitioning themselves into being something that they're not. Being sodomites. So, and committing adultery, which that's heavy amongst Jake. So Jake is still going up, even at this present moment in time. And even though we're out here showing them where they're going up at, they're going off even worse. So technically they deserve what they get. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, all right, you're going, bro.
Hebrews chapter 12, verse 5, right? And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him, for whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not?
Oh yeah, you can get that in